You said we were going to a place Walt Disney built.
No, Peter, I said supported.
Rachel Zegler's Snow White wasn't merely a box office failure, it's transforming into a complete Hollywood disaster story. What began as Disney's glossy reimagining of a beloved classic has spiraled into a reputation train wreck, complete with public backlash.
For remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarfs. But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group. You just erased that whole.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Viral spoofs. And now, according to sources, a behind-the-scenes meltdown. After Family Guy ruthlessly lampooned her role in their Snow White parody, allegedly Rachel lost it, like total breakdown mode. Why? Because the episode didn't just poke fun when it...
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension: racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphor?
Part of the first, fairy tale ever told.
Demolished everything about her controversial take on Snow White, from the marketing missteps to her now infamous interviews and the timing brutal. This parody aired while Disney was still grappling with the fallout of Snow White's box office catastrophe. And according to reports,
there is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
Queen, playing the evil queen. It was pretty amazing.
Into this, the first villain Disney ever had. It's really getting myself into this big crown.
Zegler's own PR team is now scrambling to limit the damage. But this isn't just about a cartoon jab. This is about what happens when pride meets defeat, when public image collapses, and when the industry starts questioning, is Rachel Zegler truly worth the risk anymore? Let's break this all down.
Now, I'm guessing that she's not married. I'm guessing that she doesn't have kids. The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
She came out and she said, I apologize. Like, I went too far. But it wasn't
hardcore. They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
Broke out with this news, and I'm very, very, very excited and looking forward.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
So what exactly did Family Guy do in classic Family Guy fashion? They didn't hold back. The episode aired earlier this month and wasted zero time before taking direct aim at Disney's failed Snow White reboot. In one scene, Meg portrays a version of Snow White, but instead of singing gentle tunes or charming forest creatures, she's stomping around yelling at the dwarfs about feminism, cancel culture, and how she doesn't need a prince to save her sound familiar. Yep, it was a blatant dig at Rachel Zegler's interview circuit, where she repeatedly criticized the 1937 original. The dialogue mirrored actual lines Rachel had used during press events, and fans noticed immediately. Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it, erupted. TikTok was flooded with reactions. Clips of the scene surged with captions like, "Family Guy just destroyed." Rachel Zegler and Seth MacFarlane voiced what we were all thinking, and the kicker, the writers didn't even try to hide it. The parody was Rachel Everyone knew it, and reportedly that's when the meltdown began. According to sources close to the situation, Rachel was not amused at all. Insiders claimed that as soon as the Family Guy episode aired, Zegler contacted her team in what's being described as a furious frenzy. One source said she thought this would fade away, not explode again. Allegedly, Rachel blamed her own PR reps for failing to protect her image. She demanded statements, drafted influencers recruited to defend her, And strangely, enough even considered posting a response video until someone convinced her to abandon the idea. The outburst, according to insiders, wasn't just about Family Guy. It was about what it represented. This wasn't a random troll post. This was mainstream. Comedy roasting her. When Family Guy starts mocking you, it means the industry views your reputation as a punchline. And that realization hit her hard. Too hard. Let's rewind, because this Family Guy roast didn't come from nowhere. It was just the latest. Nail in the Snow White coffin. The live action. Snow White was meant to be Disney's next billion-dollar franchise reboot. They invested a massive budget behind it. Reportedly, $240 million plus with marketing. The cast was stellar. The promotional campaign was global, and yet it tanked hard. Opening weekend numbers came in shockingly low. International numbers didn't save it. The film failed to break even, let alone succeed. But why did it fail? That's where Rachel's role becomes undeniable. From the outset. Her press tour was plagued with controversy. She openly mocked the original 1937 film, calling it strange and outdated. She dismissed the love story. She questioned the prince's motives, and she seemed to do it with this smug, self-congratulatory tone that just didn't connect with longtime fans of the franchise. Disney was stunned. Execs allegedly tried to control her, but by then the harm was done. The internet dubbed it "Not My Snow White" before the movie even reached theaters. After the box office, disaster things escalated behind the scenes. Industry insiders started leaking stories. Talent agents began using terms like toxic and difficult to work with. Rumors circulated that future projects with Rachel were either being paused or scrapped entirely. One casting director reportedly said, "She needs a win, but nobody wants to be the one to give her the chance." And after the Family Guy episode aired, that whisper campaign grew louder. Executives began citing her name as a case study, in bad PR producers, who once thought she had A-list potential, started backing away. And to be frank, the mockery wasn't just about the role. It was about how she handled the spotlight, her demeanor, her delivery, her total misjudgment of the audience. The takeaway: people weren't rooting for Rachel. They were hoping for her to be humbled. Social media has always been a double-edged sword, and in Rachel's case, it's been outright brutal. After Family Guy aired, Twitter threads compiled her past interviews. TikTok edits merged her statements with scenes from the spoof. YouTubers dove in with reactions, takedowns, and think pieces titled "Why Nobody Likes Rachel Zegler Anymore." One of the top-liked comments under a parody clip stated, "She turned a fairy tale into a lecture, and then wondered why nobody bought a ticket." That kind of stark simplicity hits hard, and it captures what many audiences feel they didn't want: a reinvention. They wanted magic whimsy heart, and instead they got a press tour that felt more like a TED Talk about patriarchy. The internet roasted her, and instead of easing it with humility, Rachel doubled down, and Family Guy just turned that whole fiasco into primetime comedy. Internally, Disney is panicking. Allegedly, after Snow White flopped, executives held a series of crisis meetings to reassess their strategy. And let's just say Zegler's name wasn't being praised in those rooms. Reports claim the studio has paused plans for any immediate sequels. Merch partners are allegedly furious over how poorly branded products performed. And the final blow: some insiders say Disney is now rethinking how they select future live action leads, specifically avoiding controversial internet figures. Translation: Rachel became the example of what not to do. And if Family Guy was the exclamation mark at the end of that sentence, you better believe the execs noticed one anonymous insider reportedly said, "We knew we had a PR issue. What we didn't expect was for Family Guy to go viral with it." Brutal. So where's Rachel now? According to sources, her team is scrambling behind the scenes. One publicist allegedly suggested a charity campaign to restore goodwill. Another pushed for an indie project that could earn critical praise. There was even talk of a surprise appearance at a Disney fan convention to show humility and reconnect with the fan base. But here's the issue: Rachel's ego reportedly won't let her cooperate. She still believes the backlash is overblown, that the media distorted her words, that Family Guy was bullying. Instead of a redemption arc, it's starting to look like a stalemate. And in Hollywood, when the audience turns against you and you refuse to adapt, you don't get a second chance. You get replaced. This is the part no one foresaw. Not even the studios, not even her fans, and certainly not Rachel herself. Rachel Zegler wasn't just hyped, she was crowned. She had the Broadway credentials, the Spielberg endorsement, and a lead role in what should have been Disney's next billion-dollar juggernaut. The industry rolled out the red carpet and practically handed her the keys to the castle. But within months, that Cinderella story shattered, and now she's not the star of the moment. She's the cautionary tale. The "don't do what she did" example whispered across sound stages and PR firms. Family Guy's savage parody didn't come out of nowhere. It stemmed from a place of cultural truth. They didn't invent the criticism. They mirrored it bluntly, loudly, cartoonishly. And what made it sting even more, the fact that everyone watching instantly grasped it. There was no confusion, no debate. Everyone knew who they were mocking. And even people who hadn't followed the Snow White drama closely laughed and said, "Oh yeah, that tracks." That's when you know the fall isn't just real. It's complete. Zegler went from breakout star to box office liability in record time. From press darling to meme fodder, from Spielberg's Golden Girl to the animated butt of the joke, that kind of reversal. It doesn't just bruise a career, it devastates it. And here's what makes it worse. This didn't happen because of some scandal beyond her control. There was no leaked tape, no massive betrayal, no behind-the-scenes sabotage. This was self-inflicted. A PR catastrophe born out of arrogance, tone, deaf interviews, and a failure to grasp what audiences actually want from their fairy tale leads. She had every advantage, but instead of using them to create something iconic, she used them to alienate, to antagonize, and to preach. She treated a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity like a platform to sound superior. And now that platforms collapsed under her, producers have reportedly started blacklisting her. Studios are sidestepping her name, merch partners are distancing themselves. Even agents are said to be advising their clients not to publicly back her for fear of the backlash bleeding into their own brands. And let's not forget the fans. The same ones who cheered for her when she got cast in West Side Story now ridicule her in TikTok edits. Reddit threads have turned her into the subject of ongoing roasts. YouTube commentators treat her career arc like a case study in how to lose an audience in 10 interviews or less. This isn't just about a failed film. It's about what happens when Hollywood invests in someone who sees the spotlight as a weapon instead of a responsibility. The tragedy: she could have owned the moment. She could have apologized, clarified, reconnected. Instead, she reportedly threw tantrums and doubled down, dragging everyone else down with her. Now she's not Snow White. She's not even the evil queen. She's just the girl who had it all and blew it. And nobody predicted that, except maybe Family Guy Rachel Zegler's. Snow White fiasco wasn't just a movie gone awry, it became the ultimate Hollywood warning story. The kind of high-budget collapse that studios analyze in boardrooms and PR teams murmur about behind closed doors. What happens when hubris steps into a legacy franchise and claims the crown before earning it? You get this: a $240 million misfire that couldn't even earn audience goodwill. This wasn't a harmless flop. This was a total rejection, and not just of the film, but of the star herself. Rachel didn't just lose control of the narrative, she incinerated it. She had every chance to pivot, to reflect, to even pretend she heard the criticism. Instead, she reportedly embarked on a blame tour. She attacked the 1937 original. She doubled down in interviews. She allegedly demanded her PR team do more instead of doing the one thing that could have helped her: listening. Let's be honest, Hollywood has seen plenty of overconfident stars, but this one hit different because Rachel didn't just bite the hand that fed her. She bragged about it, rolled her eyes about it, and smirked on red carpets while doing it. She talked down to the very people who buy tickets. She called the story weird, mocked the prince as a stalker, and framed herself as some sort of champion of modern storytelling. But here's the problem. Audiences never asked for a champion. They wanted Snow White, they wanted heart magic, nostalgia. What they got was a lecture in lipstick and a castle full of disdain. And now she's a punchline, parodied by Family Guy, dragged across TikTok, and memed into oblivion. This isn't just bad optics, it's industry exile, and she's the one who struck the match. The film didn't fail because it was too bold or too different. It failed because it was joyless, soulless, and Zegler's performance, both